Relic is a new movie directed by Natalie Erica James, and it stars Emily Mortimer and Bella Heathcote, and it's about a mother and daughter who try to find the mother's mother, essentially. She's gone missing, and eventually they find her. They show that, but the mother begins acting very strangely, and they begin wondering like what is happening to her, to them, the house. And I remember hearing about this movie for a little bit, but not really looking forward to it. Not that I was saying, oh, this looks like a bad movie or anything, but it was just more, oh, right, I heard that was coming out. I'll check it out eventually. So I did, and I remember also with this movie coming out, a lot of people have compared it to The Babadook, another movie that is a horror movie directed by a woman. It's a first-time feature for both of them. It deals with, it's not like a horror movie, but it's a horror movie with added layers to it. So it's going to be compared to that in this review at one point. I'll just warn that right now. And I will say this is a movie that I'm definitely interested in. This is a very interesting movie overall. Overall, the performances are really good, particularly from Emily Mortimer. I've never really seen her give a good performance like this in a movie before. I just remember her being a supporting actress in various movies like Scream 3, for instance. But here, she's actually really good as this woman who's, clearly trying to figure out like what's going on with her mom and trying to figure out like what's happening, and it's clearly damaging her. It's very interesting as well. The other actors like Robin Nevin, who plays Emily Mortimer's mother, she's really good. She can be creepy at times. Bella Heathcote plays Emily Mortimer's daughter. She's good as well. You do believe their relationship as a family overall. Meanwhile, the cinematography by Charlie Saroff is very interesting as well. It's very bleak, very, very dark throughout, and that kind of fits with the overall theme, which I'll kind of address later on. Music by Brian Wrightsell is fine. It's not like it's groundbreaking or anything, but it's definitely interesting. The theme overall, like, Babadook obviously dealt with themes of loss and grief and depression overall. In this movie, I don't think the theme is as deep, but it did kind of affect me in a way, because the theme in this movie is about how when you're taking care of a loved one who's like very sick or very terminally ill, and there's no way of coming back for them, it does have an effect on the person who's taking care of them. And I feel like that's what this movie was trying to go for in its message. And I thought it was a very interesting message, especially with Emily Mortimer's character throughout the entire movie, how she slowly loses it. And I feel like, personally for me, for knowing people who've gone through that's very interesting. And I don't know if this is a movie that they should watch, admittedly, but it's definitely an interesting perspective that's not really seen in horror, I feel like. Although they do that whole theme a lot with Emily Mortimer's character, they don't really do that a lot with Bella Heathcote until, I would say, the very end of the movie. I guess we're getting into the cons now. So, basically, Emily Mortimer, she's losing it. Bella Heathcote, she's starting to notice, and it's kind of more slower than her mother in the movie. And I feel like, I don't know, it's like maybe I missed something, or maybe it's because it takes a while for teenagers to get a hang of it. I don't know if like what they were going for. Again, maybe I missed something. But I don't know. I'll definitely look back at this movie at some point. Also, I'm going to compare it to The Babadook again, because like this movie is not nearly as scary as Babadook, unfortunately. Because like with that movie, it definitely managed to balance the scares and its themes very well. And like there's moments throughout that movie where it's like, oh, that's actually really scary, and I'm just like kind of anxious about what's going to happen. In this movie, not so much. Even though, like I mentioned, the grandmother in the movie, Robin Nevin, she's very creepy throughout the entire movie. It's just not as scary. It's like Natalie Erica James. She knows what she's going for, but at the same time, it's not as scary as she probably thinks it is. Like, I can remember certain moments from The Babadook that actually terrified me, but I don't really remember much from this movie that terrified me. Like, oh, there's some stuff on the wall that's very suspicious, and it's like, that's scary? It wasn't really scary to me. But I feel like this movie's not really about how scary it is. It's more about how the theme works overall. And definitely by the end, you kind of get it more. And I feel like because of the theme, it really does. It works overall as a movie. But just don't watch this movie thinking, oh, this is going to be super scary, because it's not, unfortunately. So if you really like Babadook, I would definitely recommend checking this out at some points, even though it's not as good as that movie, unfortunately. So overall, Relic has some good performances. All three leads are really good. It's definitely very well shot, very well scored. Definitely has a very interesting theme that I think is conveyed very well throughout the entire movie, and definitely made me think a lot about like my own personal experiences with this whole topic. But I feel like it doesn't really balance scares very well, unfortunately. And I kind of wish maybe they explored more with some of these characters as they did with other characters. But it's still worth a shot. I'll give Relic 3 out of 4 stars. See it. So, I don't know. What horror movie surprised you? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.